I'm Sherie Blieler. So glad to meet with you today on Zoom. Glad you could join us. I'm the chairperson of the Butterfly Committee that is at the Cape Coral Library, the South Library near the corner of Skyline and Mohawk. Right now, the library is open, but the Butterfly Garden is closed, and it's been closed since March due to COVID. And recently they allowed us to go back in to maintain it, which was great because it was getting really overgrown. And we believe they're going to open it up in the next week or two. Meanwhile, I'd like to just give you a tour of the garden and some butterflies and introduce you to our great group of club members that take care of the garden. Great group of hardworking, fun-loving women: Betsy Kosher, Kathy Atchison, Cindy Wasilak, Elsa Schutzman, Jan Pung, Judy Lindhorst, Lois Luber, Lynn Viacava, Pam Dawson, who is moving to Jacksonville, Sue Dews, and Valerie Breen. Since the garden is closed, I'm going to take you on a virtual tour, beginning with some history. The Little Acorns is what the Friends of the Cape Coral Library volunteers used to call themselves. And in 2002, they approached the garden club about designing and maintaining a garden in the back. So this is from 2002. It hangs in the library garden. The U-shaped building in the back forms a nice courtyard. The club members Jenny McCarthy, Paula Novander, and others designed and planned this garden in 2003. The club has been maintaining it ever since. Here's what it looks like today. Much grown up quite a bit, has a beautiful pergola in the center. And back in 2006, after growing for 3 years, it looked like this. Very nice, rather short growth on the right compared to what we have now, and 3 Washingtonian palms in the back. You see these 3 tall palms. By 2013, they were quite large, as you can see. But a few months after this picture was taken, these palms got struck by lightning and were killed. One palm is still standing here, but it's dead and it will be removed shortly. And notice the beautiful fountain on the left. Beautiful, made beautiful music out there in the garden. Sadly, the fountain was removed in 2006, leaving a large empty area near the door. Which brings us to the present. Here we are as you exit the library door. And to the left, you see a large courtyard where the fountain used to be, with a number of pots placed in the middle of it. The first one, let me show you these pots so you can kind of see how we, designed them. The next pot has an orange chrysanthemum center, yellow, and to see her move over these pots of tropical milkweed near the windows. This draws the monarch butterflies close to the windows to lay their eggs and be seen from the inside. These are called host plants, the plants that the caterpillars eat. We replace these plants as the caterpillars eat them, and often down to bare stems. Next to the courtyard is an area where we took a picture before COVID with a few of us who were working that day. Valerie on the left, Lynn, Elsa, and Kathy. Above them is a Cape honeysuckle, blooming most all year. To the left is a penta in a pot. To the right is a golden dewdrop with pretty blue flowers, all great nectar plants. And in the foreground is Kathy Woodlock's ever-blooming geranium. And if you've ever been lucky enough to get one of her cuttings, you know it's a real survivor. Behind them is this native coffee plant, which grows everywhere, especially in the shade, about 2 to 4 feet tall. Now it has beautiful red berries, but in the spring and summer, it has nectar-filled small white flowers, which attract the butterflies. In the center of the next large bed is a donation in memory of Nellie Slayton, given by her sister Ann Slayton, who is one of the friends of the library. This plant is a candlestick senna or cassia. Also in this blend is a native plant given by Lois Luber with lovely white flowers. And right now, it's actually got cotton. See these clumps of cotton here? Woo. The cover of porterweed, which gets 8 inches, 18 inches tall. This is the native one that grows along the ground, not the invasive one that grows upright and tall. Near the back fence is a young dwarf poinciana with orange yellow flowers, which draw butterflies for their nectar. This replaced some palms that died 2 years ago, so we got to replace it with something with flowers. Mid-garden is this grouping. The white flowering bush is a Plumeria pudica or bridal bouquet. It's mildly attractive to butterflies. Much more attractive to them is the jatropha tree to the left and the red penta lower right. Both have small red flowers. Here's the jatropha. Aren't they sweet? Beautiful. Here's the penta. See the label? We have about 75 labels throughout the garden to label. If you'd like to start a butterfly garden, you may get some from those plants we have collected here, and then you can write down the name and look for the plant. Also, right here at the top, Serenus blue butterfly. They're tiny and they love this plant. They lay eggs on the plumbago, so they say you often will see them around plumbagos also. In the winter, wait a minute, in the winter, winter and early spring. In the dead of winter, you will mostly only see monarchs and zebras, which are breeding here all year. Most of our monarchs migrate and are active here all winter. So I've walked you around the garden, and now we are almost back to the door. On your right, you'll see a dwarf firebush with a kunti underneath. You believe this is called dwarf? Yes, it's very tree-like, and here's the kunti down below. Planted 5 to 7 years ago, growing fast. Both the native firebush and this so-called dwarf from South America attract butterflies with their nectar and flower constantly all year. Here's another view of it, and you can see we trimmed it, we kind of limbed it up to be a tree, otherwise it would benches. So we've limbed flowers and functions very well. This orchid has been in the garden for as long as I can remember and blooms faithfully every year with almost no care on our part. Several wildflowers seem to be butterfly favorites. I want to show you a couple of them. This is beech verbena. I have so much ground cover at home. I planted about a year ago, and it's, I have to keep cutting it back. So you're welcome to contact me and get some slips of this anytime. This is tropical milkweed, not a native, but a real workhorse in the garden. It provides food for monarch caterpillars, which eat the leaves. She tastes terrible like the monarch and will not eat her. Here is Coreopsis, our state wildflower, seen here with the monarch. Can you tell the difference? Let me go back. There's the queen, and here's the monarch, and they're very close. Queen's a little darker, a little bit different marks. This Coreopsis, I ordered native seed from the FloridaWildflowers.com. This is how I know they're native and not hybridized, which sometimes makes them lower in nectar. And finally, the buttercup or yellow alder, a native that volunteers all over the garden. I'll bet it pops up in your garden. If you get one of these, you will have many of them. It shows off this zebra longwing really well. It grows to about 3 feet tall, so we put it in the back with smaller flowers in the front. Can you see the proboscis, this tube that goes from his mouth here into the center of the flower? It uncurls and sucks up the nectar. And that's what he lives on. Why don't I tell you a little bit more about this guy? This is the zebra longwing. It's our state butterfly, and I enjoy raising them in small screen butterfly cages. All butterflies are really picky about where they lay their eggs. They only lay them on one plant or a few related plants. This is a corky stem passion vine. That's what zebras lay their eggs on, any kind of passion vine. This is the corky stem. And this is my favorite with the purple flower, maypop or incarnata. Both are native. I mention native because for eons, these insects have developed a relationship with particular plants in their environment. So we want to provide these plants in the garden. As you can see, this maypop is surrounded by buttercup here and behind it. And this is a senna or cassia plant there to the left. I'm going to show you the life cycle of the zebra. Zebra longwing is its full name, which has similar stages to all butterflies. These are their eggs on the tip of the passion vine. They lay them in a cluster, these little yellow dots. Here, these caterpillars are just a few days old, and their color is pretty muted, kind of gray and orange with black hairs. Here they are a little older. The caterpillar on the right is about 6 days and has shed his skin and become white with black dots and black hairs, which signals to predators that they are poisonous. They shed their skin about 4 times as they grow. On the left, this caterpillar is about 10 days old and has just shed his skin again, which is this black pile of stuff on the top. When his hairs dry, they will be black again. When they're fully grown, they hang upside down, shed their skin for the last time, and take the form of a chrysalis that looks like a brown dead leaf with a little bit of sparkle right here in the middle. Looks very much like liquid gold. After 10 days or so, this one is emerging. See, he's cracked open. His buddy has already hatched here and is all filled out, but he's just coming open. Here his wings have popped out. They come out first. Look, there now his body has come out. See how thick it is. It is full of liquid, and he is going to pump that liquid into his wings and get them long and dry. Now he's still hanging on to his chrysalis, same guy, but his wings are pumped out and long. Zebra longwing. He'll hang on to this chrysalis for a couple of hours till his wings dry and he gets active, and then I let him outside. Here's a Gulf fritillary, a cousin of the zebra. She can be confused with the monarch when you see her in the garden, but she is smaller and her wings are longer. The zebra and the Gulf fritillary share the same host plant, passion vine, also on the tip of the passion. Her caterpillar is similar too, but orange with black hairs instead of white. Let's look at some other caterpillar butterfly types common around Cape Coral. Yellow butterflies are in the sulfur family. This cloudless sulfur caterpillar blends in well with the green leaves of the cassia bush. When it's young, it's solid green, but this one is almost at the end of its caterpillar stage and has an attractive yellow line along her length and a few black dots. Here she is emerged as a butterfly. She will only lay eggs on the cassia plants. This flowering plant is privet cassia, now called privet senna. Botanists have renamed cassia plants as senna, but it's slow to catch on, especially for me. For a long time, I thought our bush was a Bahama cassia. which is slightly wider and less pointed leaves, but this is a privet. Can you see the two caterpillars eating this plant? Left is the cloudless sulfur, right here. And the right is the orange barred with the black lines on it. This first slide is the orange barred chrysalis looking like a dead leaf. And then shortly before, the day before, probably before it opens, the skin gets thin and you can see the butterfly's wing color inside. Now on the third slide, he is popped out and now he's fully emerged. His wrinkled wings have stretched out and he has a peachy orange edge on this. So that's why he's called the orange barred sulfur. What are those black specks? Maybe you've grown some parsley before and been surprised when you went outside to pick some and it's half eaten. These may have been the culprits. These are black swallowtail caterpillars, which feed on parsley, dill, and in this case, fennel. These are less than a week old. And after shedding their skin a couple more times, they look like this, smooth stripes of white and black with yellow dots. Many caterpillars change the way they look from the first time they shed their skin to the last. These are my favorite. These are the most beautiful caterpillars in my opinion. I could make a dress out of that pattern. It's beautiful. Here's the black swallowtail fresh out of his chrysalis, which is on the left. Here's a chrysalis over here, and here he is. I raised this one, so that's why he's sitting in the jar next to the jar. This is his prettier underside with orange and a little blue. Oh, this cat is not going to win any beauty contest. He looks like bird poop, trying to fool the birds into not eating him. Here he is, right here. And right here is a chrysalis, another one that has gone to chrysalis. Here's a better view of the chrysalis with his back end glued to the branch and a thread that circles his middle for support. And now he has emerged. What a transformation. The ugly duckling turns into this beautiful giant swallowtail. And the underneath is even more dramatic. Oh, I love this when they're flying around and you see that flick of yellow. He's truly giant. And look for them around your citrus tree, and maybe you'll catch one laying eggs because the citrus is their host plant. The last butterfly I'm going to show you today is our endangered Atala. Here are the eggs pasted on this kunti leaf. This is their host plant. Whoa, check out this color. Orange with yellow dots says, I'm poisonous. Kuntis are poisonous, and the caterpillars are able to eat them without harm and concentrate the poison in themselves. They stick together in a group as they munch down on this kunti plant. They form chrysalis right next to each other too and hatch in a group. Isn't this pretty with their red bodies, black wings, and turquoise spots? Evidently, these were once all over Florida, as were the kunti host plants. The Native Americans ground the bulbous base into flour after soaking out the poison. Kuntis were briefly harvested by the Europeans when we came to make flour, which mostly wiped them out. And then Florida development wiped out the rest. Now we are growing them as landscape plants, so perhaps the Atala butterflies may come back. They have a foothold in the Miami area and are currently being raised at Rotary Park. I encourage you to take a walk through Rotary Park to view these beauties. The park is open. As you walk down their shady paths, you are likely to see them all around. The Butterfly House is open for tours. Finally, now it's open too on Friday and Saturday mornings at 10 o'clock. Our certification as a butterfly garden by the North American Butterfly Association is well earned, as you can see from our collection of butterfly plants. There are many more butterflies you might see around Cape Coral, but this is the end of our tour tonight. We would love to have you all visit the butterfly garden, and I'll let you know soon when it opens. To get there, you need to come in the front door of the library and go straight ahead to the circulation desk and then look right to the door to the outside. Do you see this pale butterfly garden sign at the top? Windows where you can look outside and observe. And I would love to take your questions now. This is the time we would normally take questions, but this format won't accommodate that. So please feel free to call me, email me, ask me questions if you have anything about butterflies, or if you, I'm happy to share plants, butterfly plants of my own. But also we could have a conversation on Facebook or on the swap page and talk about ideas about butterflies. So bye-bye now. Thank you for joining us.